Hey all, Pixel here, Improbable Garage, and today we're actually working on the garage. You may notice my lights are down. I had lights similar to that up there. That's because I'm installing something there. I'm installing this. This is a 19-something foot long power awning. This is an idea that popped into my head, and literally I just was like, oh, what the heck, let me go check if I can find it cheap, and lucked into this. So the reason I have that awning is I'm always end up working out here. You've seen it. Even though I have a garage, I end up working in the garage on the driveway half the time. And I realized that if I had an awning over this area, it would be much more pleasant to work. Whether on a hot day, I'd have some shade. On a wet day, I'd have some rain cover, that kind of thing. And I went and priced how much it would be to buy even just an awning that covered one of these doors. And it was very high. It was like high 4 figures, low 5 figures. And I was just, no. And one would have really bothered me too. Not having one over there and having one over here, and the lack of symmetry would have been a problem for me. So then it was like, well, are they available on, used? So I went on Facebook Marketplace and I absolutely lucked into this. This is a 19-something foot long power awning, roughly my color scheme, green and, well, I like white, but this is like an off-white, but pretty close. In what appears to be pretty good condition. It's hard to be sure because it's all wrapped up. There's a little bit of, like, the trim has come loose over here, and it definitely needs a scrubbing for some mold. But it looks to be largely in good shape. The person selling it claimed that it worked fine. They just took it off because they painted the house and it didn't match anymore. So they got a new one. The person's living in an entirely different tax bracket than me. It cost me, I believe, $250, which is super cheap. Honestly, at that price, if this doesn't work, I won't be horribly tretrified. But 19 foot is, like, I realize, is about the maximum can possibly fit, because the door, that's basically the edge of that door to the edge of that door. Not the edge of the house, but the doors, openings. But it has to be mounted higher because it comes down at an angle. So it gets, basically it looks like it's going to end up bolted probably to where the lights used to be, that level. So I've already taken the lights off. They're probably going to end up back down here where the old carriage lights were, just because that's probably going to be the easiest solution, though I may mount them. I may, once I have the awning on, figure out how high I can put them where they don't interfere with the awning and put them there. I may get a third one here. And I've been thinking too, I'm going to see if I can find lights that can mount to the underside of the awning so that when I have it deployed, it's well lit, because those lights have always been very spot sort of lighting. So the first thing that I need to do now that the lights are done is, I don't know how well it's visible up there, but the area where it's going to bolt, this is the header for the door, and then there's a cross beam that's screwed to the vertical studs for that part of the wall. There's no good way to measure all those studs and hit them accurately with the lag bolts for the brackets, and they have some really honking, these are the big honking brackets that hold them with some very big lag bolts. So my solution to that is I picked up some 2x10. I'm going to cut that to the width of the space between two of the studs and double stack it, and then from this side I'm going to put some screws in just to lock it all together so it doesn't move around, and come in from the side of the studs, and then that'll give me a huge area to aim for coming the other way with the lag bolts. And I'm going to put one up in the center, one basically centered on the door, and one like a foot in from the door over here, probably, more or less. And then that'll be nice, easy 18-inch, maybe even 2 foot. I don't know exactly what the spacing. That'll be a nice wide, over a foot wide thing to aim for when I'm putting in the bolts. and that'll make my life a lot easier. That part's going to be a pain though, because getting up there, I mean, I got an Oldsmobile in the way over here. I've got this platform. I've got the steel sides for the van, for the theoretical removal of the windows, all in my way. So yeah, I'm not actually working on that right now, but I wanted to film this while it was light out so that if the time I have to work on this is dark, I'll have already filmed this before I get it all done, like I did with, because I took the lights down in the dark. So yeah, that's the next step. I'm really looking forward to this project. Well, I'm really looking forward to this project being done. I don't want to do this project. It's going to be a horrible project. But I really look forward to the end result. So yeah, I will catch you up when I get to the next step. So it's hard to see down on the ground because the ladder's outside, but I've added 2 pieces of 2x10 there, stacked one behind the other. Same over here. The box that used to power the lights has been moved down there just so the wire is capped off. The wire that ran from there to the other one is just now hanging loose because it's unpowered. Up in here, because the main support is in the middle, I added on either side and I'm going to have to offset. I just wanted to give myself maximum options. And then similarly over there, there's pieces in there and then 2 more 2 bays over. So that gives me my mounting surfaces. I was going to screw them to the beam this way, but there's actually a bigger gap there than I thought, so I'm not doing that right now. What I'll probably do is after it's all bolted down on the outside, I'll run screws in laterally from the, so I can go from the 2x4 in this way. If I pre-drill that hole, that should do a reasonably good job of locking that in. And I may still do screws this way, but right now I'm not super worried about it. And then out here, sorry, I don't have any lights because, I took the lights down. But I've got 2 of the brackets up. What I've decided I'm doing is I'm mounting the brackets loosely in what I think is the right place. And I'm hoping that I have enough play that I can just get the piece up in there. And once it's in there, that'll basically lock all my brackets in line. I'll try and get it as level as possible, and then I'll tighten the lower bolt on the bracket, pull it out, tighten all the top bolts on the brackets, and then put it back in for good. Hopefully that'll work because I don't have a laser level and couldn't think of any other good way to do it, short of buying a big piece of steel that length and that diameter, which just seemed wasteful. So yeah, I got 2 brackets up there. I'm hungry. I'm gonna go have dinner. I think I'm done for the night because it's dark. Hopefully my partner will be able to help me with lifting that. Not sure if they will, so I may have to get some friends together. Which mean who knows how long of a gap until that's possible. But this is coming along, and I think it's going to work. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what it's like having that awning out there. Currently, my biggest concern is the angle of it, potentially meaning that at full extension it runs into the roof of the van. Because if that's the case, I'm going to have to figure something out. I don't know how much higher I can go because of the shape of the garage. But if that's really necessary, I'll do it. I might have to, maybe I can tip the whole assembly up by putting shims under the lower part. But that's a future me problem. Next day, or another day, back on the awning. And I started taking a closer look at this. And this thing is very heavy. I want to be really clear on that. Like, in case it's not obvious, this thing is stupidly heavy. It's going to be at best 2-person, probably more job to bring it up there. But what I realized, this is the bar that everything attaches to. The brackets on the house slide around this, and then the metal cover protective sort of shade thing for it also hooks to this. And so I keep thinking of this as one unit, but what I realized is no, this has just got these bolted to it as well. So if I carefully mark where all of the end brackets are and where these brackets are, I should be able to unbolt it, slide this out, and then I'll have the bar, and it'll just weigh as much as that bar does, not the whole assembly, and then I can use that to get all these brackets in right. Because I can loosely install the brackets, put the bar in, tighten down the bottom bolt, pull the bar out, tighten the top bolt, fit it again, make sure it slides in there nice and neat, nice and level and all of that. And then once I've done that, I can put it back on the assembly and load the entire assembly in, and I'll know everything's level and straight without having to do it with all that weight up there. There's a small chance it's a stupid idea because I don't know if the ends of that have springs in them, so it could be taking it off could cause that to unwind, but I'm willing to take that risk because if I have to sit there and rewind it, oh, whatever. But so I'm going to do that. I'm going to pull that off, and then that'll give me the bar to work on this. All right, well, I got the brackets up and I started fitting that and dropped it a couple times, so I'm going to wait till my partner gets home to help me with it. But ran into a problem, which is I just kind of guessed where to put these, and I perfectly put that one and that far end one exactly where the bracket for the extender arms is on this beam, which makes me really glad I took this beam off and test fitted it, because it would have sucked to have the whole thing up there and discover that problem. So I need to move that bracket like 3 inches left or 3 inches right. Same thing on that one. I do just need to figure out where is best to do that. But I'm done for the moment, because after I dropped this a couple times I realized I'm kind of tired. I've been working on multiple projects, jumping back and forth. So until my partner gets home, I think I'm done for right now. Project continues. We got the beam up last night. No filming because it was dark. Turns out when you're not one person alone dropping the thing 3 times, you can get it aligned properly. And as you can kind of see from the marks there, those 2 marks are where the bracket for the fold-out arm needs to be. It misses those. And on the other side it does too, by like the slightest little bit. But that's enough. So that means I don't need to move the brackets on the house, which is so good. So what I've been realizing is this needs to go up in pieces. I'm sure when you're a professional installing this, you don't do it that way. Maybe you do, but I don't know. But I'm just figuring it out myself, because each piece of this weighs so much that I can't put it together and lift it up there, because if I had known that was going to be a problem, if I'd found out that might be a problem and had to be in a certain place exactly while I was trying to lift the whole thing up there, that would have been hell. Also, that beam there, the garage is not flush, but that beam has no play in those brackets. Like, we had to hit the hell out of it, and in some cases sort of push it and actually like force the screws down to get it in, so there's no wiggle or adjustment in it. That screw is sticking up because it seems to be cross-threaded. I think it was cross-threaded originally. It's based on trying to put it in there. There's no, like, it was just messed up. So I'm not super worried about that because it's in, and all those screws are doing is keeping the beam from being able to slide out. So 2 threads is as good as 1 inch of threads for that. So the next step is take the arms off of that, see if I can install them up there. I'm probably going to need my partner for that. And then once we have the arms up, lift the actual awning itself up. The way it bolts, the awning itself attaches, is it attaches to the arms with, like, there's a couple different ways you can disconnect it. The way I'm going to do it, there's going to be a pin sticking up that the arm slots over, and then a nut on the top. And then on that end, there's a pin coming out that the central tube of the awning slots onto. And on this side, there's just 2 little screws that go into the end. So the plan is basically get the arms up there. I'm probably going to like loosely zip tie them to this beam just so they don't try and like swing out. I've already zip tied the 2 halves of them together so they can't open. And then bring the awning in, and it's probably going to, because I've got to drop it down onto those pins, probably going to come in from the top, slot it onto that, drop it down, and then put the screws in on that end, and then tighten the other 2, and then it should be in. This is the cover that goes over it that sort of protects it. It's suffered a bit. This side's all is kind of mashed up and has lost a piece of hardware. There's marks all over it from an end to end. That cover is intact but a little crunched. So I'm going to repaint this entire thing and fix the ends as best I can. I'm not worried about it being perfect. I just don't want it to look really bad. I also hate this off white beigey color that it is. I didn't repaint the brackets and the beams and stuff because there's only some of it I would have been able to repaint, and I think it would have honestly looked worse with some of it painted white and some of it still beige. So I've decided I'd leave it all beige and just deal with it. So yeah, that's where I am, making progress. This is a huge step, just knowing that that's up there, because that means that even as much more hassle as I have, I know it will go up. I'm already realizing that because of how high I got it as high as I could, you can tell by where the bracket is. I might have problems here already with that cover and clearing where the thing steps out, because that cover is beyond there and it sits up a bit. But I'm not going to worry about that right now because I can hack that away until it fits. But right now I got to get the actual awning itself up, and I got to get it working so I can open it, so I can clean it, because it's moldy. Not moldy, mildewy. No, that's not the right word. It's got green stuff growing on it, whatever the hell the right term for that is. So yeah, that needs to get going. All right, got a problem. So that went in more or less okay, except as you can see by the fact that it angles up, the arm hits that bracket, and I've got it resting on it and zip tied to it just so it doesn't swing wildly. But that bracket's in the way, and on this side even worse. Not only is that bracket in the way, but that one completely blocks all of that mechanism on the end of the arm. The arm's just zip tied up there because I didn't want to carry it back down. For that and for this, I'm pretty sure I can just lop that corner off. These are, I believe, looking into it, like trying to figure it all out, these are supposed to be mounted 180 degrees from the way I have it. I mounted them this way to get the maximum height while still putting them there where they would definitely catch the pieces of wood, because any higher up and I risked missing it. So I didn't think anything of the fact that that stuck out because I thought everything would be above it. Turns out I'm wrong. But I think if I lop this little, see how there's a flange there sticking out? Because these also can be mounted from above or turned the other way so it sticks out further, I think is actually what it's supposed to be for. But I think if I knock that little flange off the end on this one, maybe that one, and that one over there, the arm should be fine. That one's on the outside, that one's not a problem. But this one over here, even if I cut that flange away, it won't work. Because if you look at how these two intersect, there's no, without removing most of the structure, there's no way to make enough clearance for that, you know, the 90 degree of that, the 180 degree of that to not hit the bracket. Fortunately, I do have room to move that bracket to the other side, so it will clear if I move the bracket. The only thing that sucks is everything I've done so far has to come down. Both arms have to come down. That beam has to come most, if not all, of the way out to get that out of the bracket so I can shift the bracket over, drill 2 new holes, bolt the bracket back in. Really glad I didn't try and fit that all as an assembly up there, because so would have been so many levels of F. So I think I'm going to wait till my partner gets home so they can help me get these back down again and get that beam out, and then I'll fix that and go forward.
4 to 6 weeks later.
Running project has been on complete hold during all the bathroom and Oldsmobile and everything else, and we're trying to get it hammered out like today before it gets too dark. So I'm just gonna put you on time lapse. We're gonna get to it. All right, success, it's up. That was a miserable process, just lots of little problems became big problems. I lost 2 of the screws. I threw the nuts that hold the end over there. I had to go dig those out of a bin of random hardware. These got misaligned, like this one ended up having to be scooched over like half an inch, but that was enough that it wouldn't go in. We lost the washer for that, just lots of little stuff. The last thing you saw me doing was trimming this bracket and that one, because that little lower tab there, the arm gets in the way. I think they'll clear this one in the middle, and if not, I'll hack it off too. But yeah, it seems to work. I've obviously only got it on the manual arm right now, but it goes out, it goes in. I am definitely going to have to adjust it for some more height if I have any chance of ever clearing the van, but even if it just means I can put the nose of the van under it and then be able to like open the hood and work in the front of the van without the sun or the rain on me, that's still a win. So I'm done for now. This is going to be the end of the video as soon as I'm done blathering, but there's still another bits to do on this, so I'm sure there's going to be a part 2, because I need to hook up the wiring to an actual switch. I have to get a special 2-way switch. The whole thing needs to be cleaned, like pressure washed with the right chemicals to get all the stains out. This little fringe here is in really bad shape, but I realize there's a screw here holding the end of it and there's a screw holding this plate on, so I think if I take those 2 out, I can just pull the whole fringe piece out and just get rid of it. It's just mostly there to hide the arms. I don't care. And then the last thing is the top piece, which is over here, the shield that protects it. I need to make some repairs to it, paint it, and then put it up. It's just going to get like Rust-Oleum. I'm not going to be precious about it. I'm going to cut this in one additional thing. I need lighting. So I had those big lights out here. They're not going to fit underneath this. I'm probably going to put them at the ends further down. But I need light for when I'm working. Obviously I have those brackets where I can install something, but that's going to be tight up against the house. I'd love to have light further out. These big bars here are obviously an option as long as the light has a way to turn there and turn there. But yeah, I have an awning in front of the garage to give me a little bit more sun and rain protection now that it's winter and largely irrelevant. But yeah, cool. So that's it. Yeah, for how much I've invested in this, which is at the moment $250, and these awnings are like, this would have been a like $10,000 to $15,000 awning. I think this is a good little experiment. I've seen kits for awning lights, but they seem to all be for RVs, so they're all going to be 12 volt, I believe, if I remember correct. This is a little while ago that I looked at these, but if I remember correctly, all the awning light kits I could find were for 12 volt. So if anybody has a suggestion for something that's 120 volt that I can hook into the regular outside garage light circuit, I'd really appreciate if you point me towards that, because right now I don't have any brilliant ideas and I don't really have time to go looking before the next time I'm going to be working on this probably. So yeah, if you can think of something, if you've got any ideas, throw me a suggestion in the comments. Just basic white LED would be the best because low power consumption and whatnot. But yeah, let me know if you know, and back to me telling you goodbye. So we're going to call it there. Thank you all very much for watching. I'll talk to you later. Bye.